dear students. Good morning. I am Suresh Kumar, your English teacher. Today we will take the poem The Road Not Taken in detail. That is its word meanings, explanation, the message given by the poet, and the poetic devices used in the poem. The poem is written by Robert Lee Frost, popularly known as Robert Frost. In this poem, the road symbolizes our life. The poet says that the path that we don't choose in our life is the road not taken. I repeat, the road not taken. He describes his feelings about that choice that he left in the past. That means to be completed at some other point of time if he gets a chance. The path which we have chosen decides our destination, our goal. The important message that the poet wants to give us is that we must be very careful in making our choices because our decision or choice has an impact on our future. If we make a wrong decision or choice, we regret for it, but cannot go back on it. So we must be wise and careful while making choices. Okay, now we shall take the first stanza of the poem. Here, the word meanings in this stanza is now it will be better if we first read the stanza. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Now let's take the word meanings. Here diverged. First you can see in the first line. Word diverged means separated and took a different direction. Another word is yellow wood. It means a forest with withering leaves. And we can see at the last undergrowth. It means dense growth of plants and bushes and signifies the forest. So now let's go with the explanation of the stanza. Once the poet was walking down a road in a forest and this is at a point of diversion. There were two different paths before him and he had to choose one out of them because being one person he could travel on one road only and not the both. So here yellow wood stands for a forest with leaves withering and turned yellow in color in the season of autumn. Metaphorically, it represents a world full of people. The poet kept standing there for a while and looked at the path very carefully as far as he could see it. He wanted to know if it was suitable for him or not. The poet was able to see the path till from where it bent, that means curved, after which it was covered with trees and was hidden. Similarly, in our life also, it happens many times that we have to make choices and we take time to ponder and think about the pros and cons if it is suitable for us or not. Okay, students, now we will see the literary devices used here in this stanza. The first, we can see rhyming scheme of the stanza. As you can see, the rhythm in each line at the end. The first line ends with would. In the third line, you can say stood, and fourth could. So would, stood, and could, they rhyme the same. And in the second line, both, and the last line undergrowth, they rhyme the same. So our rhyming schemes becomes A B A A B. The second literary device is used in this stanza is symbolism, which is the main base of the poem. So now here two roads they symbolize. They symbolize our life. So the next literary device used here in this stanza is anaphora. And anaphora is the repetition of the same word at the start of two or more lines. We can see in line second, third, and fourth, the word and has been used repeatedly. So it is anaphora. So here it is the first stanza that we took and understood. Now let's take the second stanza. The second stanza is now let's first read it out. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. So now let's take the word meanings. Here in the first line, fair. Fair means as good as the other one. And in the second line, we can see claim. It means better option. And in the next line, the word grassy means unused, and wanted wear means had not been used. So now let's take the explanation of the stanza. The poet now having decided to take the other path, he thought for a while and decided that he will take the other path. Now he starts walking ahead on this path because he felt that both the paths were equally good, and he might have felt that the path was better for him. So he chooses it as it had grass on it. So students, just be careful and listen it very patiently. He gives the reason here for choosing the path. So he chooses it. Why? Because he sees that it had grass on it, which means that the path was unused and it was not walked over by many people. But after walking on this path for some distance, the poet realized that both the paths had been worn out the same way and finds them similar. What does it mean? It means he finds no difference between the first one and the second one. So, in his views, both the paths were similar. In the same way, in our life also, we find that whatever decision we may take, every decision or path has its own consequences. That means that we have to face challenges, problems, and even get advantages and disadvantages. So there is no such path or decision, we may say, in our life which has only advantages. That means we will have to face everything, because the decision that we take, it may be wrong, it may be right. So if it is right, then we will have good benefits, and if it is wrong, then sometimes we'll have to repent also. So we think that the path we have chosen is a better option. Sometimes it happens because we take a wise decision, and in that sense we think that whatever path we have chosen or taken is better for us. But does it always prove right? No. Sometimes it doesn't turn out to be right one. It may be wrong also. So now let's see the poetic devices used in this stanza. In this stanza also the rhyming scheme is the same as it was in the first stanza, that is A B A A B. Why it is so? Because we can see in the first line the word fair, and then in the third line where, and fourth line there. So these three words rhyme the same. And in the second line we can see at the end claim, and in the last line we can see same. So claim and same rhyme same, means rhythm is same. So our rhyming scheme becomes AB AAB. Now the another poetic devices used in this stanza is alliteration. Alliteration is repetition of a consonant sound at the start of two or more words. Now we can see W sound is repeated in the words was, wanted, and where in the third line. And another sound th, the. So the sound, that means th sound, is repeated in the words though, that, the, and there in the fourth line. So we now come to an end of this stanza. Now let's move on to the third stanza of the poem. So first we will read out the stanza. Just listen to it. And both that morning equally lay. And both means both the paths. In leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the fast for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Now we shall see the word meanings. Prominent word here is trodden. In the second line, it means walked over. Now let's see the explanation of the stanza. The first line, and both that morning equally lay. So here the poet wants to say that both the paths were equal. That means similar. That morning of the autumn season. Because there were leaves lying on both the paths, and no one had crushed them with their steps, because the leaves were still green in color. और जैसा कि आप हमेशा देखते हैं कि जिस भी रास्ते पे हम चलते हैं तो उस पर निशान पड़ जाते हैं पैरों के, और कोई भी ग्रास है, पत्ते हैं, वो पैरों के नीचे आने से डिस्कलर हो जाते हैं, ब्लैक हो जाते हैं. तो यही रीजन जो है वो पोएट भी जो है यहाँ पर देते हैं. सो द पोएट डिसाइडेड that he would take one path that day and keep the other path for another day. मीन्स वो कहना चाहते हैं कि वो उस दिन इस पाथ पे चलेंगे, इस रास्ते पे चलेंगे, और दूसरा जो रास्ता है, जो कि हमारी पोएम का टाइटल भी है द रोड नॉट टेकन, उस रास्ते को वो किसी दूसरे दिन के लिए चलने के लिए छोड़ देंगे, और अगर टाइम मिला, कभी चांस मिला, तो उसके ऊपर दोबारा फिर कभी वो चलेंगे। लेकिन ये बात भी वो सच जानते हैं कि शायद ऐसा टाइम उन्हें कभी ना मिले, क्योंकि ऐसा ज़िंदगी में हमेशा होता है कि एक रास्ते पे एक डिसीजन लेके हम जब आगे बढ़ते हैं तो हमें आगे और रास्ते मिलते जाते हैं, मीन्स उसी पाथ से और पाथ निकलते जाते हैं। सो द पोएट नोइंग दिस फैक्ट that one way leads to another way, and it would not be possible for him to go back on the choice that he had made. So if we relate this to our life, so same happens in our life also. It happens that once we take an option or we decide to move on with one decision or one path, we keep on moving ahead with that choice and never get a chance to revert back. Means we don't get the chance to come back and exercise the other option. Means जिस रास्ते को पोएट ये सोच के छोड़ता है कि भाई वो कभी दोबारा उस रास्ते पे चलेगा जब उसे टाइम मिलेगा या चांस मिलेगा, और इसीलिए जो है वो उसी रास्ते पर, जो रास्ता उन्होंने चुना है, उसके ऊपर आगे चलता जाता है। तो पहला रास्ता उन्होंने छोड़ा था, मीन्स द रोड नॉट टेकन, जो उन्होंने छोड़ा था इस उम्मीद में कि उसके ऊपर वो वापस कभी आएगा और उस ऑप्शन को वो ट्राई करेगा, उस पर वो चलेगा। So now let's see the literary devices used here in this stanza. The rhyming scheme, it is same actually throughout the poem. So the rhyming scheme again here is A, B, A, B. As you can see in the first line, the word lay, third line day, and fourth line way, they rhyme the same. And in the second line, word black, and the last line, that is fifth line, we can see back. So black and back, they rhyme the same. So here again our rhyming scheme becomes A, B, A, B. Now another device used here is alliteration. As we can see in the third line, F sound is repeated in the word first and for. So we shall see the last stanza now. We have completed with 3 stanzas. So last stanza, the fourth one. We shall read the stanza first. The stanza is like this. I shall be telling this with a sigh. So the word sigh, it means deep breath. So here somewhere we get an indication that the poet until now had no regret in his life in choosing his path or taking a decision. But the word sigh somewhere gives an indication that he has a regret in his mind. So I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. So ages and ages hence means in the time to come, in the future, लंबे समय के बाद. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. Here you can see this sentence two roads diverged in a wood. It is repeated here as it was in first stanza also. So, two roads diverged in a yellow wood and I, और इसके बाद आप देखते हैं आई के बाद एक क्या दिया हुआ है, हाइफन, डैश टाइप का आप देख रहे हैं ना, हाइफन. सो समवेयर देर इज हेजिटेशन. सो द पोएट सेज two roads diverged in a wood and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So students, you can see this stanza is a bit different from all the three stanzas in terms of the feelings of the poet. The poet says that in future, that means in the time to come, means long after, he will be telling with a deep breath, means with a sigh. Here the poet seems to regret his decision. That once upon a time, that means once upon a time, means in his past time, when he was in his young age. So the poet wants to say that at that time when he was young, he reached such a situation. That means such a point in his life that he had the options before him to decide upon. मीन्स क्या है कहने का कि उसके पास कुछ अल्टरनेटिव्स थे, कि उसकी चॉइस थी, इच्छा थी कि वो जो चाहे रास्ता चुन सकता है, लेकिन उन्होंने एक रास्ता चुना और एक को छोड़ दिया किसी दूसरे दिन के लिए. सो बट ही टुक द रोड विच हैड बीन यूज्ड अपॉन बाई लेसर नंबर ऑफ पीपल. तो यहाँ पर जो दो अल्टरनेटिव उनके सामने थे, ऑप्शन थे, चॉइसेस थी, उनमें से उन्होंने एक वो चुना जो उनको चैलेंजिंग लगा. तो यहाँ पर ये बात भी है कि इससे ये भी साबित होता है कि पोएट कुछ एडवेंचर्स भी हैं और उन्होंने उसको चैलेंज को स्वीकार करना सही समझा. तो हम ये कह सकते हैं, ये समझ सकते हैं कि यहाँ पर जो पोएट कहना चाहता है that he took the road or path which had been used upon by lesser number of people. It shows that the poet is adventurous and took the challenge of following different path. And this is the decision that made all the difference in his life. So that decision of the poet decided his future and made all the difference. तो पोइट यही कहना चाहता है कि जो भी मैं आज हूँ वो उसी बदौलत हूँ, उसी वजह से हूँ जो डिसीजन पास्ट में लिया गया. तो सो स्टूडेंट्स, इट मीन्स वट एवर द पोएट इज टुडे, इट इज ऑल ड्यू टू दैट decision that he took in the past. So dear students, we can learn a good lesson and get a good message through this poem that the poet gives us, and it is a very strong message, and the message is that we should be very wise and careful while we make choices out of the alternatives or options that we have in our life. Why? Because our future depends on that decision that we take today. So if we take a good decision, our life will be good. If we take a wrong decision, then we will have to sometimes repent or regret for it. So now let's look at the literary terms or devices used in this stanza. As we have been discussing in stanza 1, 2, and 3, the rhyming scheme is A, B, A, B. Here also you can see in the first line the last word shy, third line last word I, and the fourth line last word by. All these three words give the same sound, means rhythm is the same. And in the second line word hence and the last line word difference, they rhyme the same. That means their rhythm is same. So our rhyming scheme becomes a b a a b. So now the other poetic device that is used in this stanza is repetition. You can see word ages is repeated. You can see the word ages and ages hence in the second line. So word ages is repeated. So it is repetition. Also you can see in the third line two roads diverged in a wood. This sentence has been in the first stanza also. So this sentence also has been repeated. So this is also a repetition. So students, now we come to an end to this poem. I hope you have understood it well. So it will be better for you to revise it yourself and try to understand it. In the next class or session, we shall be taking the exercises. So that's all for today. Have a good day and be safe at your home.